Good afternoon, my people. What is going on? It is your main man, Charles Tank Harris, the founder and chief visionary officer of the financial literacy platform Wealth Our Way, where our motto is wealth is not only for the wealthy. I welcome each and every one of you to episode 181, 3 tips on how to increase your circle of friends. Before I get started with today's program and message, I want to practice the attitude of gratitude and thank each and every one of you who are here with me live as I stream across the Wealth Our Way Facebook page and the Wealth Our Way Network YouTube page. If you have not done so, please get over to YouTube and subscribe to the Wealth Our Way Network page and tell a friend. I also want to give the Wow Nation salute to the many members of Wealth Our Way Nation who watch this program in its pre-recorded state overnight, over the weekend, on their lunch break, anywhere they can squeeze 15 minutes of financial literacy in. And then a heartfelt how are you to the good folks on the Life 101 platform who listen to the audio recording of this very here program. So you got to love broadcasting live on a daily basis or a weekly basis or whatever you choose to do it, because I was so excited to be able to increase the lighting that I am using. See, I'm brighter than I normally am from this location. I shoot from my place in Georgia, my wife's place in Jersey, my producer's place in PA. I'm always shooting from various locations, and I tend to have bad lighting in New Jersey. But today, we remedied the lighting problem. And while I fixed the lighting problem, I ran into a connectivity issue with the internet, and the program started about a minute and 5 seconds later than it was scheduled to start because I couldn't get on the damn internet. So there's always something when you're trying to do live programming. I apologize for the tardy start, but I want to get into the content today on 3 tips on how to increase your circle of friends. This stems back to last Tuesday's program where I gave 3 tips on increasing the overall quality of your life by improving your vocation, improving your friends, and improving how you spend your time. I decided to break down each of those 3 pointers. And last Thursday, we focused on time. Today, we're going to focus on friends. This upcoming Thursday, we'll wrap up the series by focusing on how to improve your vocation. Also, please join me tomorrow night. I have a dynamic young lady coming on the Financial Power Hour. Philadelphia and Temple's own Nicole Purvey will be with us tomorrow night. Just was on Good Morning Philadelphia last Thursday talking about her new AI fueled real estate course. She runs Better Than Success, which is one of the largest real estate leagues in the nation. And she helps people, especially single mothers, but she helps people get into real estate and increase their net worth, their cash flow, and other things. I promise you will not want to miss tomorrow night's Financial Power Hour. We're going to talk about how she brings a great life-work balance to the world for her and her son, the young Prince JD, my nephew. What's up, JD? So I want to talk about 3 tips to how you can increase your circle of friends. And when I was talking to people over the weekend, they were a little nervous when I broached the subject because I think everybody understands that as human beings, we are social creatures. We flock to be together. If you go back to the very beginning of time when we were, cavemen, we found safety in numbers. We gravitated to form communities. That has not changed to this day. Most people are completely uncomfortable by themselves and they feel most loved, most at their highest level of fulfillment when they are sharing themselves and their time with other people, be it family or friends. And I think the pandemic did a lot to show us that. The pandemic showed people just how easy it is to get cabin fever, when you're stuck in the house by yourself without the ability to use other people as an outlet. So it is very important to assess the level of people you keep around you. And what I want to touch on here is I want to point out we tend to use the word friends as a people. We use the word friends quite a bit in instances where we shouldn't necessarily use the word friend. And there are, as we like to say, where I come from, there's levels to this. Friends there's level to friends. There are your close, intimate friends, your circle of friends, your crew. There are people who you've had a long-standing relationship. You've known them since childhood, elementary school, college, and they're cool with you. And if they got hurt, you'd be sad. If you had good news, you'd want them to know about it. And then there are acquaintances who we're friendly with. We like their personality, but we don't know much about them. So this episode is more so about understanding the different levels of these friends and making it a point to improve your circle of what I would call your true friends. The number one thing that you want to do is you have to be purposeful in what you do. If you learn nothing more on 15 Minutes of Finance, it is to be purposeful and intentional in everything that it is that we do. Because only when we are purposeful do we actually put the proper amount of effort into things. So the first tip that I would give you, if you don't know this, most of us wouldn't intuitively have this in our mind. I want you to identify 5 people who you admire, whether you admire them because of their levels of success that they've attained, whether you admire them because of the family life that they lead, whether you admire them because you see that they're always looking on the outside, at least, to be fulfilled and to be content and to be happy with life. Whatever it is you admire and respect, I want you to gather 5 people. Anything bigger than 5 is too much. Anything less than 5 tends to be too little. 5 people who you admire, and start to shape in your mind a council, a board of directors for yourself of these 5 people, and make them your most intimate friend relationships. See, the one thing about this particular module that people got nervous about is they thought I was going to tell them who they had to get rid of and cut out and change. And even if we have friends that are in and out of jail, friends that always borrow money from us, friends that don't necessarily practice the greatest habits in the world, we've still made them our friends. And the thought of getting rid of them is hard for some of us. I'm never going to tell you who to get rid of. I'm going to tell you some tweaks and changes that you can make to better benefit you when it comes to your friends. So the first tip is to find these 5 people and identify them and make them your closest group of friends, people who you really get uplifted by when you spend time with them. There is a lot of research that states you are the result, the core aggregate result of the 5 closest people in your life. What they make as an income will tend to be the income you make. How they behave will tend to be the way that you behave. Where they live will tend to be the way you live. So make sure you carefully list out and select 5 people who you look at and be like, I'd like to be like that. And start to direct more of your energy into those 5 people. The second thing is hand in hand with the first thing. It's deepening your relationships. When I touched on earlier that there are levels to friendship, the reality is that for a lot of us, we treat everybody the same. There's an old line in the Jay-Z song where him and Beyonce, all I need in this world to sin is me and my girlfriend. And he says, people treat the one that they humping the same way they treat the one that they loving. If you're mad at me about something, it won't be that. You can't treat all your friends the same. Everybody can't have access to you the same way. You can have acquaintances who you keep in touch with, at events, like you see them at homecoming or other events, or you see them online. You can have people who are a little more closer to you because you see them every day at work or in your neighborhood or at the kids' soccer game. And then you can have the people that you truly invest in the relationship. I'm talking about, their kids' names and dates of births, and you can say happy birthday. When someone's graduating. When someone's been sick, when their mom passes or dad is in the hospital. These relationships that you invest in, that you dig deep into, goes back to segregating your friends list because you don't have capacity to have that deep a relationship with way too many people, which is why I suggest the number 5. And it's not my suggestion. It's been the suggestion of other people who have studied relationships, that if you can have 5 core relationships and go very deep into those relationships to the point where, dare I say, they're like family. Speaking of family, you should make it a point to understand that sometimes you're going to have family members who you are very, very close to, and sometimes you're going to have family members that you are not close to. I think we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to behave a certain way because we think it's socially or societally acceptable or the norm. And hey, I have to be close to my sister. She's my sister. Hey, I have to have a great relationship with my mom. It's my mom or my child. Sometimes oil and vinegar, oil and water, I should say. People don't mix all the time. And we have to give ourselves grace and forgiveness if there are relationships that appear on the surface that they should work, but for whatever reason, they don't work. I would say always in your heart and in your soul, dedicate some time to trying to improve that relationship. But if it's not one of your five core relationships, give yourself some grace and move on. I've known people who have gotten married, have, 10 siblings, and not one sibling's in the wedding because they're closer with their friends than their siblings. There's reasons for this. You build upon it, you assess your life, and you move forward. But making sure that you deepen the key relationships in your life is pivotal. Now, here's number three. Here's the one that people got nervous about. I would never tell you to look at your friends list and see the people who are hurting you and holding you back and kick those people out of your life. I think we have a job. If we've gravitated to someone at some point and they become our friend, there's some cosmic reason why that happened. And we have a job and an obligation to try to improve everybody who we meet when we're on this earth. But we definitely have an obligation, in my opinion, to try to help those who we've become close with for some reason. Yes, there are going to be relationships that we just plain old outgrow, and that's okay. However, I would challenge you to not look at this particular tip as getting rid of people. I would ask you to look at this tip as prioritizing people. And what I would tell you for tip number three is to limit people's access to you. So when you go back down that list of your five best relationships, your secondary tier relationships, and lastly, your acquaintance level relationships, your acquaintance level relationships shouldn't dominate the amount of time you spend with people. They can catch up to you by looking at Facebook, getting your thoughts from a post you may make, seeing some pictures, commenting, and you can do the same for them. Carve out maybe an hour a week, 10 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day to go on social media and catch up to the people who fall into this category. But direct access to you, their ability to text you, call you, monopolize your time, you want to start to really value your time. You want to really value who you are and what your purpose is. And you will grow from the better relationships you have. If you invest in things that aren't best for you, you're going to find your life not being the best life you can have. If you invest in things that are great for you and pulling you towards success, you're going to find that you have a more successful life. Going back to that first point about people making what the average of their five closest people make, this is, after all, a financial program. You will increase the quality of your life by osmosis. If your five closest friends vacation in the south of France, you're going to find yourself elevating your game to be able to vacation in the south of France. If your five closest friends never open a book, you're not going to be a big reader. You're not going to feel comfortable telling them every week what you just started reading this week. So you definitely want to follow these three tips. Find a list of five people who are closest to you or that you wish to be closest to, and start to deepen that relationship. And then lastly, limit the access of people who aren't on that list. With that being said, I want to thank you guys all for tuning in. I'm apologizing again for being a little tardy. The internet was not cooperating. And I want to tell you guys that I'll be here tomorrow night on Wednesday, September 28th, with the beautiful Nicole Purvey, discussing mom first, millionaire second, and how to get the proper life-work balance. Until then, remember, wealth is not only for the wealthy. You guys take care.